So I need some advice. I'm currently on my third DualSense, I was going to call it a DualShock 5. It's not called that. It's a DualSense, the PlayStation 5 controller. Every single one of them has drifted, and my newest one that I got back in 2024, this black one, is now drifting. It's less than 2 years old, and it is drifting. So two things worth noting. I'm primarily a PC gamer this generation, especially now that, Sony's recent announcements have completely driven me away from buying any digital games on the PlayStation 5 going forward. I'll be buying disc games until 2028, and then I'll probably just stick to my backlog when it comes to home console, aside from the Switch too, when physical games get released on that. But it's worth noting that I baby these controllers because I barely ever touch the PlayStation 5. Like I said, I'm primarily a PC gamer, and on the PC I use my Stadia controllers, and despite the fact that the Stadia controllers, just like the DualSenses, have potentiometers, they're not Hall effect, they're not TMR, they still work perfectly fine. The only other controllers that I have that drift are Switch 1 and 2 controllers, which, I mean, those are like that's not uncommon. Like, there's been a lawsuit about them, and that's known issues with the Switch 1 and 2 controllers, that they drift quite badly. But that doesn't change the fact that I don't want to give Sony any more money for DualSenses that are going to break in 6 months, because, like I said, the black one that I have is a pretty recent purchase, and it is already drifting quite badly. So I am turning to you guys. I would like some advice. What do you guys recommend for good third-party solutions? Now, I'm down for either like mod shops, like modded first-party controllers, or I am down for fully third-party ones. I'll give you a couple ideas of what I'm looking for, and if anyone would like to help me pick one out, that would be greatly appreciated. So I'm kind of looking for most of the functionality of the DualSense, but, and this is the big sticking point, I want either Hall effect sticks or TMR sticks. I do not want potentiometer ones because I don't want to have to pull the thing apart to replace joysticks. Now, I know a lot of people are going to ask, why don't I just buy the DualSense Edge? The battery life. I do not want a controller that only lasts 4 hours on charge. I want to be able to play my console for 6 or 7 or 8 hours if I want to on a weekend. I don't want to have to be tethered to the damn thing to charge it up. You guys know what my room setup is like. I am not seated anywhere near my PlayStation, so I can't really have a wire running across my entire living room. Some other features that I would like to have, but they're not deal breakers. I would love trigger stops. I do think the DualSense has a really nice range to its trigger movement. I don't care about adaptive triggers at all. I think they're a neat gimmick, but they probably absolutely destroy the battery life, which I'm, whatever. So yeah, like if it has adaptive triggers, cool, but I don't particularly, that's not at all a selling point. If it doesn't have them, that's totally fine. Rumble in general, that's something I'm not huge on. I honestly turn it off of a lot of controllers. It's cool to have it for like immersion, but a lot of games go overboard with it. I also don't particularly care about RGB. I'll be the first to say it. I know that's kind of a controversial opinion, but here's the thing about a good controller. You shouldn't have to look at it. You should be able to just look at the television. And yeah, so if it has RGB, cool. If it doesn't, cool. I do want it to have a good battery life. I want more than the DualSense Edge, otherwise what the hell would be the point? I might as well just get the Edge, right? So I want it to be more than ideally 7 or 8 hours. I do think that it's a little silly that my Nintendo Wii U Pro controller from, 2013, 2014, whenever I got that thing, that has like a 4-day battery life. Like, you can just leave the thing on for like half a week and it won't die. Meanwhile, like if you look at the DualSense Funny, it just drops a full bar of its battery. So like, I do think that's a little silly that like we've regressed so much with battery technology. Joystick layout, I prefer symmetrical, but if it's a good controller, like if it feels like the 360 controller, I'm fine with asymmetrical. In terms of budget, I don't really have one. I'll spend whatever as long as it lasts. Ideally, I would like to spend less than $200 on a controller, but if there's a really, really good one that costs around there, maybe I'll do it. Like I said, I really am just looking for DualSense Edge features, but for a much better battery life, and I don't want sticks that will drift. I know on the Edge you can pop them out and pop in new ones, but then they're $20 a whack, and like that's gonna add up, man. Like I've had this PS5 since 2000, I want to say early 2021. I've had it, so around 5 years. And this motherfucker, the amount of controllers that have broken on me in that time is insane. I've never had a console's controllers shit the bed as much as the PlayStation 5. That is just unacceptable to me. I play with gigantic plastic guitars that are 20 years old that are far more functional than a controller that I bought in 2024. That is fucking ridiculous to me. So I was looking at the Turtle Beach Victrix. You know, that looks good. Although I've heard mixed things about the wireless receiver that it needs. I was also looking at the Nacon, I don't know how to pronounce it, the Pro Revolution one. That one I've heard good things about, although I've heard that the triggers and the bumpers on them are built like shit, so not super interested in that. I've heard fantastic things about the Fantech Nova 2D, so I've been looking at that. It doesn't have like the trigger stops, which is, you know, whatever. If it doesn't have them, it's not the end of the world, but like in terms of all the other features, it seems to mimic a PlayStation 5 DualSense perfectly. So I'm looking at that. I've also been looking in terms of like customs. I've been looking on Etsy, but mostly at like Hex Gaming. The Phantom looks pretty cool. Again, just the fact that the sticks won't drift, to me, that is worth the price tag. If any of you guys have any experience with any of these controllers and you want to leave them in the comments to help steer me and help me decide on my decision, that would be very helpful. But yeah, just whatever you guys can recommend, I will accept, because at this point I am at my wit's end. So I appreciate it in advance. This has been Dan Rock, and I will see you guys later.